So today we're talking about meditation and why meditation specifically doesn't work for people. Like, why is that so? And what happens for most people is that they go to these meditation courses, or they might read a book about meditation, or they might watch a YouTube video about meditation. And then what they do is that they go away and practice it, and they don't get the results that they're after. Okay, so the way that looks for most people is that they'll shut themselves off from life. They'll go into a little room. They'll make sure that there's no sounds that are going to distract them. They close the door. They might light a candle, dim all the lights. Okay, and they go into this space where they'll close their eyes and they'll notice all of the thoughts going around their head, right? With the idea that they can actually turn those thoughts off. Yeah. So most people, they'll sit there in meditation with their eyes closed, okay, and then a thought comes up, right? But then with the meditation practice, they have to use another thought to silence that thought, right? And then another thought comes up, and they have to use their head again to silence that thought. And this is the reason why it doesn't work for most people, is because what's happening is that their mind is thinking about things, and then they have to engage another part of their mind to turn that part of the mind off. So it's engaging more of the mind, right? And then what happens is it gets in this feedback loop where rather than going into a space of no mind, they actually engage more of their mind. So rather than being in a relaxed alpha state, which is our natural state, by the way, they instead go into this beta state. And that's why it doesn't work for most people, because they're trying to use the mind to resolve the mind. And I see this time and time and time again with clients that come to me for the heart coaching work in the Head to Heart program. It's like, David, I've been meditating for 20, 30 years and I'm still caught up in the business of my mind. I just can't turn that off, And the impact of that is that when you're engaged in your mind so much, it creates anxiety. It's the anxiety response. You'll notice when you're relaxed, right? There's not a lot of stuff going through your mind. But when you're in the anxious state, there's so much going through your mind that it creates the tension and releases cortisol in your body and your bloodstream. And that's why meditation, some people get a lot out of it, but I'd say probably 98, 99% of people that come to me have tried meditation and it's not working for them. And it's a big cost, because one guy, for example, he came to me and he'd been meditating for 30 years, right, an hour every day, and he still hadn't got the results he was after. And when we worked it out, that was 1 year of his life that he shut himself off from life, went into a little room with a candle, closed his eyes, and spent an hour. And when you added all of those hours up, that's 1 whole year of his life that got wasted, So, and it was probably a couple of years ago. I was down in the southern part of Australia, a place called Tasmania. And it was really beautiful. It was in the forest. I went to this gathering. I was wanting to have more joy in my life, or experience more joy. So I went to this rainbow gathering, and there was literally probably 200, 250 people all camping in the forest. And I was a bit sort of do I go, do I not go? But I wanted to experience more joy. And what was amazing about it is that there were so many workshop leaders there that were running workshops. And I was sort of do I run a workshop? Do I not run a workshop? It's more about joy, but I get a lot of joy out of running workshops. And I'm sitting up on the hill in my tent, and there's a river in this valley, and the whole campsite is around this river. So I felt the pull in my heart to go down to the river. And as I'm walking down there, this guy, we just sort of crossed paths. And he was started chatting, and then we were walking down towards the river. Another guy came, and in the end there was 5 guys, and we were walking down the river to the river. And we started talking about all the workshops that were on, and I sort of expressed, I'm thinking of running a workshop on the heart connection. And one guy's what's that all about? And I'm like, well, it's pretty simple, just 6 simple techniques. The first one is coming into no mind. And he stopped as we were walking. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, you teach no mind. And I'm like, yeah, it's super simple. Like, we can do it in 5 minutes. And he's like, I've been meditating for 25, 30 years. And I've had glimpses of this, of no mind. But I've been to like literally hundreds of meditation courses. I've learned from many different gurus. I've been to like India. I've been all over the world to try and turn off my mind. And I said, well, we could shift that now if you wanted, And he looked at me wide-eyed. The other guys, they all sort of stopped, and it was summer. It was really hot. So there was a shade of a tree. It was a pine tree, a local pine called a King Billy pine. And I said, well, let's do it now. It was an impromptu meditation circle, not that it's meditation. And we sat in the circle, and I told them about this technique of no mind and how to get there literally within 5-10 minutes. And so they all sat down, closed their eyes, and I guided them through this technique that I teach. And I could tell, every single man in that circle was in a space of no mind. And that's where most meditation ends. And that's the problem with it, is that it's about blocking yourself off from life rather than engaging with life. This is more of a dynamic way, right? So when they're in no mind, I encourage them to gently, in their own time, open their eyes, staying in no mind, open your eyes, and just observe how the world is, right? And I was particularly wanting to observe and notice this guy that had been on this journey for 25, 30 years. And as he opened his eyes, it was so beautiful. His eyes went soft like a child, right? And it was like he was looking around the scene in nature in the forest, like a child looking at something for the first time. And as he's being with everything in this space of no mind, very present to the present, I could see this like tear coming down his cheek. It was really beautiful. And then as he looked over the valley, so beautifully, he let out this like smile, and I could just tell that he was in so much joy, to experience this. And I get shivers when I tell this story. And then I encourage the guys, okay, well, stay in no mind and go and explore. Like stay in this space of no mind and just see what opens up. Follow the pull on your heart and see where you're drawn to. So there's 5 guys there. I could see them. They all spread out and they went to different parts of the river. And one guy was like being with a tree. And this man that had been meditating for 25, 30 years, he went up to this tree and he's just like being with the tree, like completely in the present moment. And I went off and went down the river and went for a swim down there. And what happened, I didn't see this guy for the next couple of days, and because it was a big gathering. And then 2 days later, like, we're walking towards the food circle, we're going to get some food, and our paths crossed again. And I don't know, just look in his eye, he was being with me, right? Rather than lost in the business of his mind, he was actually being with me. And he just gave me such a big hug, and I looked into his eyes and I'm like, how is it? And then this big grin came over his face and he's like, wow, I'm still in this space of no mind. Thank you so much. I've had glimpses of this, like probably 4 or 5 seconds in the last 25, 30 years doing all this meditation. But now I'm in it all the time. And he gave me another hug, and I just put my hand on his shoulder and said, yeah, look, this is available to you all the time, and if you have other friends that want to learn this technique, please share it with them, and I didn't see him again. I think he left early from the gathering, and who knows where that work's gone, but I don't know, it just gives me so much joy, because so many people are spending so much time meditating when they don't have to. It's part of our natural inbuilt ability to be in a space of no mind. Like babies, for example, they're not constantly thinking. Little kids, they're not constantly thinking. No, they're in a different space of consciousness. And that's what this heart work's about, is about shifting from the head to the heart, not using these techniques that engage more of the mind. It's probably why a lot of the psychology stuff doesn't work. because it engages more and more and more of the mind, and it just creates this like whirlpool effect. But instead, this works about creating a shift in consciousness from the head to the heart. But the first technique I teach is no mind, this one of no mind. Because if your head's really, really busy, you won't be able to shift to your heart. So if that's what you like to do, I encourage you to schedule a call. I'd love to chat with you. And the great thing about it is that when you can come into this space of no mind, right, everything opens up. And it's like you can see reality for the first time, right? Rather than what you think reality is, you're actually being with reality. All of your five senses open up as well, because you're not engaged with your mind so much. It leaves so much attention and awareness to engage your five senses. Like you start to notice all the small details again. You can hear what's happening behind you. You can feel the wind on your skin again. You can taste and smell. As all those senses are turned up, because so much attention and awareness isn't on here anymore, that you come into becoming a fully embodied human being. So if that's what you'd like to do, it's very simple. Somewhere on this page, there'll be a link somewhere where you can book a date and a time, fill out a short questionnaire, and literally in 2 or 3 minutes, you can be putting your life on a completely different track. And after you fill out that form, we'll get on a call together. It's a 45-minute call where we'll get super clear on exactly where it is that you are, like what's happening in your world, where it is that you'd like to be. Like if your mind's too busy and you'd like to be in a space of stillness and relaxation, then book that call. And then we'll also get super clear on some steps that you can take to make that transition from your head to your heart. And if you'd like to go further on this journey, we'll also talk about that on the call. And if it resonates for you, great. If it doesn't resonate for you, that's great too. Because the worst place that you can be is caught up in your mind, right? Because I have people come every week, David, I just can't turn off my mind. David, I lay awake in bed and I'm not sleeping properly. David, I'm having all these relationship problems because I'm thinking too much. David, I just can't get any peace. Where is the peace within me? And this is the first step, is to look at what's happening in your mind and use an effective technique that can turn that off. It's like if you walk into a room and the TV's turned on full volume and you can't think properly, right? Like it's just not clear. And then you turn the TV off, it's silent, and the clarity comes. That's what I want for you. So if that's what you'd like to do, book a call. Just pick a date, time, short questionnaire. And this is a powerful call. This literally has changed the course of hundreds of people's lives all around the planet. I've been doing this for like 7, 8, 9 years. And it's taken me 20 years to put this into a step-by-step system so that people that come into the Head to Heart program can do that, coming from their head to their heart, shifting that consciousness from the business of their mind to the stillness and the peace and the calm and the wisdom of their heart. So if that's what you like to do and you're sitting on the fence and you may be a bit nervous, what's going to happen on this call? It's a powerful call. And whether you choose to work further with me, I'd love to. But if you choose to, that's great. If you choose not to, that's great too. Either way, it's a powerful call. So thank you again for watching this video, and I look forward to talking with you soon.